is the last word. Well, good evening. It's Tuesday night, and you know what happens on Tuesday night? It's the last word, and this is what comes right after the news. Tonight, on the last word, we have a very, very interesting one. Should Nairobi remain a county, or should it be managed by the national government? Of course, that's a conversation we'll be having. This is for data, truth, and insight that leads us to the last word. As usual, we have a panel here with us, and we have guests that we'll be talking to shortly. But first, let me introduce you to my co-host, Zaha Indimuli, a Gen Z feminist, rabble-rouser who digs deeper for the truth and is never afraid to ask all the hard questions. My name is Eric Latif. I'm a conversation starter. I'm here just to seek for us to get to the truth. We have our colleague Sharon Momanyi, who is away on assignment in Mauritius, and she'll be reaching out to us shortly. And our other colleagues, James Martin and Joe Ageo, are away tonight. But we have an audience here with us in the studio and a panel of people who we've invited to help us with the conversation. First one is Charles Kerich. He is a County Executive Committee member in charge of finance in the Nairobi City County Government. We also have Godfrey Akumali, who is the County Secretary in the County Government of Nairobi. Robert Alai is a member of the County Assembly representing Kileleshwa Ward. And we have Philip Kisia, who's been running this city initially as a member of the private sector and then joining in as the town clerk when we had the Nairobi City County. He was actually the last town clerk in Nairobi. And they are all joined by an audience here that will be engaging with us on that conversation. Should Nairobi remain as a county, or should it be managed by the national government? Of course, you know the genesis of this conversation is because of what we've seen recently. Members of the County Assembly, more than 80, had signed a petition supporting the removal of the county governor. And then we saw the national leadership coming in to take over this matter. The president calling in members of the ODA or UDA, and the former Prime Minister, the leader of ODM, calling in members of ODM who were the majority in the County Assembly and saying, let's find a way of working out instead of going the impeachment route. So that raises that question. Is Nairobi that important? And if it's that important, then should it be run at the national level, or should it continue running as a county? That's what we'll be coming to shortly. But first, we always start this show with what's been happening for us in the week with the hot buttons. Zaha, what's been your hot button this week? What's been burning?
Well, in this country, there's always something to burn you up. Well, for this week, for me, is to see the spirit of Gen Z in our uniforms. And it's the story of St. George's Girls and the strike that just recently happened. Well, for me, let's take it back to Mrs. Macharia, the school principal, where she was saying, from the window, away from the parents, because again, when Gen Z parents get to the floor, things happen to change. And she said, I'm saying this again, those who want to take their children home can do that. And those who want their children to continue learning can remain behind. This is after an altercation between students and a teacher on an encounter where the children decided to go outside, rather a student decided to go outside to watch the eclipse. Is it a natural phenomenon we experience every time? Absolutely not. So to have young minds scientifically ignited and wanting to see it, should it be punished? That altercation led to a whole full-blown strike by the schools, and the Form 4 students insisting that they will not go home, that they will not stay in school, that they would want to go home as well, and threatening to ban the school. We've seen a lot of people come into the school. We've seen talks between the school management and the government and the police, and there's a disclosure now that the school has been closed and the kids are home. Well, we're still running around a system where we're just from Alliance Girls High School. Now it's St. George's. And it's different facets of issues where students are having it within themselves to raise these issues, telling not only their parents but their teachers that we do not want corporal punishment. And for St. George's Girls, we had the kids saying, wana tuchapanga. It raises the question, corporal punishment was banned in this country ages ago. Is it still happening? If so, what accountability has been taken by the Ministry of Education or by government at large? Forwardly, as we keep our kids in school, where exactly are they safe if they have to actually riot because of assault over one of their students? For me, I think it was not only a hot button, but it was such an interesting thing to think about, because then it raises a question, so where are the students safe entirely?
You know, the issue of this, what we see, school unrests. It's not new, and it's not about to end.
Yeah.
But because I think we are just not getting to understand this issue holistically and dealing with it holistically. A couple of years ago, when we had a spate of school unrest where students were even torching their schools, dormitories and classes and labs, there was a question, what is the cause? Is it that the school heads are not listening to the learners?
Yeah.
Is it that the learners are indisciplined? Is it that the parents are not engaged and involved in school? And I think we need to have that conversation and ask this tripartite that's acknowledged by law, that there will be school administration, there will be a board of management that has, brings in the community leadership, and then there's also the parents association, and the three should run concurrently, should have conversations that run the school. Is that tripartite working? And what's the weakest link?
Exactly.
And sort it out. And I think it's important that you raise that.
Yeah, I think it's just crucial that we take to account that these kids have their rights. And when they're raising these issues, it's to the account that we need to listen and figure out what does safety, accountability, and a healthy, conducive environment for students look like in this country.
Right. My hot button is still on the issue of young people. And let's take a look at what happens when leaders ignore the voices of their people, especially the young people. Look at what has happened in Nepal today. A ban on social media sparks fury among the Gen Z. They storm parliament, they torch government buildings, they clash with police. 19 young lives are lost. That pressure becomes unbearable. The Prime Minister resigns, the government rolls back on the ban, homes of the ministers are invaded, ministers are, roughed up on the streets of the city, and this is what has happened. And let's just take a step back into a couple of these things that have happened over the years. 2022 in Sri Lanka, anger boils over as an economic meltdown crushes livelihoods. Protesters storm the president's residence, they set the prime minister's house on fire, the prime minister has to resign, the president has to resign. Bangladesh last year, student-led protests against injustice and corruption filled the streets of Dhaka. They stormed the key offices of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who had ruled for over a decade. She had to step down. Parliament was dissolved. Youth pressure forced change. Mongolia, this year, a corruption scandal enraged young people. Relentless protests triggered a no-confidence vote. The Prime Minister resigned. Proof again that street energy can bring down government. Just weeks ago, Indonesia, students lit up the streets over obscene parliamentary parks. Regional parliaments were set ablaze. Lives were lost. The government had to resign. There was a reshuffle in cabinet. Now, this is what has happened across the globe when young people feel that the leaders are not listening to them, that the leaders are not accountable. We had the similar situation in Kenya last year and this year. And the leaders of this country may sit and think that, we have addressed this issue. We have brought in a broad-based government. We are addressing the issues. We are not off the hook yet. And if you're a leader, in whatever capacity, whether from a member of a county assembly to the president, and such a thing happens under your watch, it'll go down in history as you who was in leadership when a country burned. Do you want that? Listen to the people. That's my hot button.
No, it's interesting when you raise that, Eric. I was part and parcel of the protest, wholeheartedly as an active citizen, but incredibly because I was looking at the wastage that is happening and the due demand that we were voting yes to taxing Kenyans who are already overburdened. And I think, just as you've said, and maybe let's say, if maybe I share this information from a young perspective, maybe it will tremble a little nerve that will make them take consciousness in what a youth uprising is. When you are a young person, unemployed, constantly told that you can't do, constantly with limitations towards what your growth should look like, that anger grows, that anger spurs. And when it gets to the streets, that anger will send you home. And so for Kenya, I feel like it's gotten to a point where we're back to that comfortable seat. The Gen Zs are back home, they're back on TikTok, they're back on tweeting. It is only a ticking time bomb that you have to wait for, because that rage is still within. There's so many issues that young people have encompassed. We've seen our parents go through it. It's like we're constantly fighting for independence every single day. So thou shalt receive a warning. Your time is coming to Kenyan politicians.
Unless you heed the voice of the people. Our colleague Sharon Momanyi is in Mauritius, and she sent us her hot button. It's on the blue economy. Let's take a listen to it.
from the beautiful island of Mauritius, where I have been attending a regional workshop on sustainable fisheries and the blue economy. Contextually, my hot button is on the same, the blue economy. And when we think about this, many people think that it sounds like a faraway topic, but really it's not. In our own backyard of Kenya, Lake Victoria and Lake Turkana form a part of our blue economy. And these bodies have been increasingly facing challenges of overfishing and the impacts of climate change. Now, the region has come together to build something that is called the Eastern and Southern African Sustainable Fisheries and Blue Economy Coordination Platform. Now, what is this all about and why should you care? Roderick Kundu is a fisheries specialist and researcher who talks to us about this.
Having a platform, because we are having transboundary resources, there is a need for ease of communication. The issues within the region don't recognize boundaries, that this is an IGAD region or EAC. But we want an arrangement where the governance of a structure or a platform that can enable people to share information. Bringing on board even the governments, academia, strategic partners, to ensure that whatever the experience that we have learned from Ecofish is shared, flows down the information to the grassroots institutions.
So Kenya stands to benefit from this platform in terms of aligning our policies, benefiting from investments, particularly that will come from innovative funds and all, and at the same time that fisheries communities will be able to gain from exchange of information and technology. So a lot to gain. And tonight, as we have our discussion, I want us to think about the blue economy, not just as the government's role for sustainability, but what we all Kenyans have to do to protect our water resources one drop at a time. I'm Sharon Omanyi. That's my hot.
Well, thank you very much, Sharon. Yeah, the blue economy. People just hear the blue economy and they think, well, triple around the water bodies.
Yeah.
That's the lake and the ocean.
Fishing.
And that's, let them deal with it. But I think that she's raising the important issues, not just fishing. There's a lot that happens in the blue economy. Right, so we also have members of our audience who have some hot button issues to raise. Who's got the mic with the hot button? There you go. So there's a lady here at the front. You can tell us your name and what your hot button is this week.
Okay, my name is Janet Mora. I come from Nairobi County. Actually a youth and women empowerment advocate. So my hot button today is about the 10.6 share scandal. So I'm here as a young person who is really disappointed with the kind of leadership that we have, because we have these leaders that we elected and others who are appointed and are supposed to guard the public resources, but instead of doing that, you find that the ones dipping their hands and actually forking out the resources which are supposed to help the majority of Kenyans who are actually very vulnerable. So actually I would like to bring this into perspective, what 10.6 billion can do if injected into a healthcare system. Because for instance, if this money that is lost through those crooked ways is injected into the healthcare, we should be able to see there is improvement in our health infrastructure, because at the grassroots we have so many hospitals which are in a very sorry state or dilapidated state, and they really need a facelift, and also they need to be improved. So also these resources can be used, can be injected into programs which target the women and also the children, and that will also help us in reducing the mortality rates. This money can also be channeled into acquisition of even the modern diagnostic equipment that can be used to actually improve our healthcare. And also the money can be used in ensuring that we have a supply of essential drugs in hospitals, because it's quite unfortunate because we have so many health facilities in this country where even an ordinary Kenyan is not able to access just even a painkiller like Panadol. So
it's a lot to actually say, and you're raising a good point, because you're saying 10.6 billion shillings is a lot. It could do much better than what it's doing. And thank you very much for raising that as a hot button, basically calling on the leaders. When you are entrusted with resources, make sure that you're using those resources to the best benefit of the people. Let's get into our topic. So our hot button is where we have, those issues that we just want to say, what is it that has been happening and going on with your week? And our topic today, as we get into it, as we said, is should Nairobi remain as a county, or should it be run by the national government? Should Nairobi be run as a county, or should it be run by the national government? Okay, we'll be getting into that conversation shortly. We know the background of this is because of the recent move by the Nairobi MCAs to seek to impeach the county governor. You've got the cards with you. They are red and there's green. Now, I want us to do a vote, okay? Those who think that the Nairobi City should be governed as a county government, go with green. Those who think that Nairobi should be under the national government, go with red. Time to vote is now. Let's see. Who says it should retain as a county? Who says national government? Appears that the county has very many people who want it to remain as a devolved unit, right? More of a devolved unit, less of national government. And we have a couple of people. Let's hear some of those who are saying national government. With, who has the mic at the back? All right. So somebody who has a red vote, let's hear from you. Your name, please, and why you say it should go to the national government.
Thank you so much. My name is Bernard Karanja from Nairobi County, Kinangop constituency, Murongaro ward. The reason why I'm saying that Nairobi should remain to be run by the national government is because it is the diplomatic hub and the capital of Kenya, and it runs the high-profile offices that we get here in Kenya, the embassies, the ministries' offices. They are all around in Nairobi County. Mm-hmm. So when we get it run by the national government, it will be smooth. And like we had seen in 2020, when the national government came in with the NMS, we saw how they did it. There was improvement in how things were being done in Nairobi County.
What improved?
How they were building the roads in Nairobi County. It was done faster than how we get the Nairobi County running things, because we can see when we have the devolution, we are celebrating the 15 years of the devolution. When you have that devolution, we are getting that, we have that devolved corruption.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we should centralize corruption.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get another red from this side. You have the mic. Yes, tell us your name and why you say it should go to the national government.
Hello. My name is Davis. I'm the legal officer, Amin Khan Production. I feel we made a mistake by making Nairobi a county from the beginning. It was unfair. Demographically, Nairobi was way far than most other counties. In terms of resources, in many aspects, they are the big brother. And the fact that Nairobi is not only our home as Kenyans, it is the connecting point for Africanism. It is not. We should not be thinking of Nairobi as Kenyans. We should be thinking of Nairobi as a world destination.
So
this is a place.
If I may ask you,
Yeah.
so a resident of Nairobi should not think of Nairobi as a resident of Nairobi. They should think of
a
Nairobi.
resident of Nairobi should think as Nairobi as a bigger metropolitan city. If you brought I'm from Nairobi County. When I was small, I used to look forward to come to Nairobi. Yeah, I was like, oh, I want to go to Nairobi, you know.
But now
we are here, right?
Are you saying the children of Nyeri now don't look forward to coming to Nairobi?
They do, but yes, that's very good, true. They do, but we are able to give them whatever it is that in Nairobi back in Nyeri.
Okay.
But in this sense, guys, Nairobi is where the politics. The politics in Nairobi is the one thing that is actually making Nairobi look like it's not the perfect county.
Okay.
It's supposed to be the perfect county in Kenya, but there's a lot of politics playing around Nairobi. Many politicians are using Nairobi as their what do we call it? The
launch pad.
Yeah, the launch pad.
Okay.
And I feel we should treat Nairobi as it is. It is the African New York City. Let us treat it as it is.
Point made. Let's take some two greens. You can give a lady now, like any lady who has, okay, you have got two ladies. Choose one. Because both of you are green. Eh? Choose one. Let's hear one. Pass the mic to the front, please. You can tell us your name and why you think Nairobi should remain as a county.
Yeah. You know, it comes at times when we need to swallow emotions and start dealing with facts. My name is Faith Gakuo. I'm a youth leader and a resident of Nairobi. You know, we can't say because a nation has failed or a president of a nation has failed, we need to dissolve the whole, like dissolving a county won't dissolve the problem we have. The main issue we have here is because the leaders we have elected has violated the Chapter 6 of the Constitution, that is leadership and integrity. We usually say that in Kenya we don't have leaders at Tukona politicians. Sometimes we usually say that because the leaders we elected, they are not so integral, we need to amend our constitution for them to fit in. It doesn't work like that.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Nairobi City County should remain as a county because initially, even when it was formed, it was called Nairobi City. So even when the formation of the devolution was there, it was a city by itself. They saw it coming. So the issue here is leadership and integrity, among others. Thank you.
Accountable leadership. Back to this side. The lady, yes.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Lynette Moke. I'm from Woodley, also known as Toy Market. I think Nairobi should remain as a county. Number one, because it is the nerve center of this country, and I'm so proud to be one of the residents. But now we have so many challenges because I think we elected, personally I feel like we did the wrong mistake. Kwanza, our governor has let us down, including the MCAs, that they are our oversights. They, like you see the last impeachment, they collided. I don't know, I think it was politicized. The broad-based government came to that. I think all these MCAs, they are answerable to the people of Nairobi, and I think they should go home like yesterday.
All of them?
Yeah, they should, because they should go home like yesterday. They are supposed to go there, defenders, and say, even if the government come and say this, they should say no. They could have allowed the motion to go forward. If it goes to the Senate, the person is supposed to be proven guilty. They could have allowed the process, but they agreed with the broad-based government. And I feel as a resident of Nairobi, these MCAs that we chose as our oversights, they are biased, and they work for the government, but they don't work for the people of Nairobi. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll come back into this conversation. Let's take a look back at how we got where we are, right? Into this devolution. Devolution, of course, we know, started with the 2010 Constitution, first devolved government in 2013. But all the way before that, when Nairobi was first established in 1954, it was elevated as a, into a status of a municipality and then a city in 1954. When we got independence in 1963, it was Nairobi City Council. We had Charles Rubia as the first black mayor of this city. In 1983, because of the politics of the country and moving into one-party rule, the government then decided this Nairobi, with it being a county, no. So it was basically converted into Nairobi City Commission, where managers were being appointed to run the county. All the way up to the first multi-party election in 1992, when we came back into Nairobi City County, and we elected Kajuras, and Kajuras elected mayors. And we had several of them. We had several Kajuras. And they are called Kajuras because of how they used to, basically just behave, right? When it got into devolution, we saw a bit of a difference again from the county councils into this. But has there been a change in service delivery?
I think just like
born, raised in Nairobi for you.
Yeah, is there any born and raised in Nairobi. And as much as I'm still in the group of people who look into, or rather look up to going to Nairobi, even if I'm here, I think it's very clear what the residents of Nairobi are actually calling for, that the only thing that has been consistent and systemic is the failures. To be very honest, it's the fact that corruption is still sung about from the mayor's time till today. It's the fact that there is no unification between the leaders and the people that they're representing. It's the fact that when these leaders are elected, some of them, when they get there, it becomes them and their political parties. So we are putting Nairobi City at jeopardy, because I feel like to some extent, Nairobi has the potential. We have now been called the giant of Africa, if not the Silicon Valley, if not New York, as I'm hearing right now. Nairobi has potential, but upon bad leadership, we keep going down the drain. I mean, we had a section in between the time where, former governor planted grass everywhere. Immediately he was out.
The Pope was coming.
Yeah. The Pope was coming, right? And then immediately after the Pope came and went, did we see the grass again? No. Then we had, the whole garbage, and Nairobi was clean for 2 seconds. Then to too few seconds, the business had gone to someone's pocket. I feel like Nairobi is consistent with leaders who come in and take shape to corruption and just devolve the corruption, as someone said.
I hear this all the time. And I'm always wondering whether we're being objective or subjective, Are we actually just isolating Nairobi and saying that Nairobi, there's corruption? Is it only Nairobi? Is it also not at the national level? There's mismanagement, complaints of leadership that's not citizen-centric. Is it only Nairobi? Is it all the other 46 counties plus the national government? Let's bring in Philip Kisia. Philip was in the private sector. He helped to set up the Nairobi Central Business District Association, where the private sector was coming in to help Kaju run the county. And then he was a town clerk. In fact, he was the last town clerk of Nairobi, was it not, Philip? So if you look at the history of Nairobi in all those years, where you're coming in from the private sector and also coming in as the administrator of Nairobi, has there been a difference between devolved Nairobi, County Council Nairobi, Nairobi City Commission?
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Eric and Zaha.
Yes, you're okay.
Okay, and the audience. I was a bit disappointed when I was asked to come to industrial area. I didn't know. I thought I was going to Nation Center. But I was again elated when I came here and found Gen Z. And I said, wow, what an opportunity to engage. So I'm so happy that I made my way here. And I'm hoping that by the end of these discussions, we would have at least not found a solution, but at least understood the challenges that are facing Nairobi and make an attempt to prescribe the solution. Let me say this from the onset, that in the old system, Nairobi City Council, or City Council of Nairobi, as it was known, was operating under Cap 265 with the governance structure that was known. We had the central government, and then below that, the Minister for Local Government, and then we had the City Council with its own governing structure. We had the CEO, or the town clerk, and the mayor on the other side who dealt with political matters. and then we had the county assembly. That was the structure then. Now, the devolution is actually anchored under Chapter 11 of the Constitution of Kenya. And again, it has its own governing structure. So the question you're asking is there a difference? And I must say that I've been very impressed by the engagement so far by Janet Mora, Bernard Karanja, Davis, Faith, and Dinette. All the points they've made are valid, okay? So it's a question of whether it is right to retain Nairobi as a county or get it back to where it was. Let me say this. The question actually should not be whether it goes back to where it was or retain it as a devolved unit. There are three issues that we need to look at. The first one is the governing structure, okay? Of course, now it's different from what we had. The second issue is the issue of leadership, okay? The persons that you, as the residents of Nairobi, have put into office, you know, be it the governor, deputy governor, the MCAs, and my friend Allah is here, and Allah, you better talk to the Gen Z. I can see your job is on the chopping board. So what type of leadership have we given Nairobi? Do they have the capacity? Are they able to steer this city to greater heights? The last issue is management. And if you ask me, it doesn't matter the governing structure of an entity. Of course, the governing structure can strengthen the issues of oversight and so on and so forth, but it doesn't matter. Even if you have a proper governance structure, you probably have some form of leadership, some form of leadership. But if you don't have sound management, because it is the management, the people that you have entrusted to provide managementship, if those people have no capacity, because you're talking about managing resources, and resources don't end or start with money. You're talking about manpower, you're talking about minutes, you're talking about machinery, you're talking about management information systems, you're talking about money. So you're talking about all the resources put together. Now, does that team have the capacity to utilize those resources in a most efficient, economical manner that will deliver the desired results? So if you ask me, my issue really is with the management of this entity, the management of this entity called Nairobi City County.
I know that will elicit very many reactions, and we'll hear from the county executive members who are here. We have Charles Kerich, the CCM for Finance.
By the way, I did say there's a problem. I was just pointing out.
You're just pointing out the issues. And nobody here is about to say that there's a problem. We also have the county secretary, and we have, of course, Robert Alai, MCA Kileleshwa, plus residents of Nairobi and voters of other counties who are here. They live in Nairobi, they vote elsewhere, but they consume the services of Nairobi and pay taxes in Nairobi. We want to take a break. As we're going to this break, I would like us to remind ourselves again. The question tonight, should Nairobi remain as a county, that is a devolved unit, or should it be handed over back to the national government and be run by the national government? Let's take a break as we take a vote again. Green for Nairobi as devolution, and red for... Let's see whether the votes are going to change. Just from Philip Kisia's submission and the four. All right, we're going into a break, and this is how the situation looks like now. More and more people here in the room want Nairobi to remain as a devolved unit. We'll be back shortly to discuss this further. This is the last word. Should Nairobi remain as a devolved unit under the county government, or should it be managed by the national government? That's a question we're asking ourselves tonight. We have audience here with us. My name is Eric Latif. Of course, Zahin Dimuli, my co-host, an audience here. And we have from the county executive, 1C CM for Finance, Charles Kerich. We've got the County Secretary for Nairobi, Godfrey Akumali. We've got MCA for Kileleshwa, Robert Alai. The last town clerk of Nairobi, Philip Kisia, and we have residents of Nairobi, voters in Nairobi, and residents of other counties who are visiting Nairobi tonight, and also residents of Nairobi who are from elsewhere. We're asking ourselves this conversation. As you've heard from what Philip has said, it's about the capacity of those that are entrusted with governing the affairs of Nairobi, whether they are directly elected by the people, whether they are appointed by whatever appointing authority it is. Do you think that would have a bearing? And he also said money is a big issue as well.
Yeah, of course. I mean, just by understanding the fact that this is also the county that held the biggest protest we have seen, and the youth were not calling out on anything other than the action that there was no management, and so there's a crisis, right? And they represented a demographic of the entire country. And I like what our last town clerk has actually raised, because systemically Nairobi is on a standstill when it comes to bad management, and it's all fronts of governance, but also to the fact that there's no execution of communication in between these offices. So therefore, when there's an issue within Nairobi County, it's everybody's fault except the one who actually did it. And I'm thinking that's why we're hearing the residents of Nairobi saying the same, that maybe to some extent, some people should pack and go, not because you don't deserve it, but because to some extent, it's looking as if Nairobi is overburdened with so many political spaces that don't connote to what the residents of Nairobi actually require. And I'm very eager to actually learn, what was it like then? What was easier then? What actually has worked in Nairobi that can be translated to the time now?
From Philip?
Probably, but I know.
When you were town clerk, Philip?
What was Nairobi looking like? What actually worked? And then what are those things that happened and that you can transcend right now?
Okay, now, without appearing to blow my own trumpet, I would say that during our times, we were able to run this city using our own revenue.
How much?
Our own revenue collections. I can't remember, but I think probably about 12 billion. And if I look at the last transfer we got from the national government, it was less than 3 billion. Okay? And if you look at the functions we had at that time and the functions the county are having at this time, vis-a-vis the resources that are being devolved from the national government to the county, there's not much of a difference. Of course, the current structure has more functions. There have been added things like tourism, agriculture, commerce, and so on and so forth. But those again are not revenue generating functions. Most of them are consuming functions. So the big difference is that we had the ability to run our affairs using our own collections. Resources. And I remember during my tenure, when I had just taken over, we had this thing called LATIF, the transfer from the national government to local authorities. Okay?
Not me.
Not LATIF.
Not LATIF. Not this LATIF. Not Eric. Okay, it was a transfer. So at that time, we were at the tail end because the local authorities had been given a 10-year window using that transfer to offset all their creditors, to pay all the debts that they had that accumulated over a period of years. But by the time I was taking over, instead of either clearing the debts they had or reducing them, they had actually grown substantially. Okay? So that is one difference, that we were able to run our affairs using our own money. The other thing is that at least at that particular point in time, and that's why I said, it's not even the issue of the governance structure, but the issue of management. Or rather my administration made a decision that if we were to change the city, the first thing that we had to do was to institute institutional reforms. That, you cannot manage a city with an institution that does not function, that can't function. Therefore, we identified areas that required reforms. I'll give you just a few that actually succeeded. The first one that we did was to automate building plan approvals so that there was no human contact, okay? The planners, or, you know, the architects were able to submit their designs, their plans online, and within 2 to 4 weeks, they would get either a yes with variation, or a no. So we were able to, you know, we were able to give opportunity for developers to plan. So we succeeded by automating, removing that human contact. The other thing that we did successfully, we started off the issue of automating the entire city operations. By the time we were leaving, we had actually started doing test runs on parking. The other thing that now people are talking about, and they have refused to implement, because now we're on the third cycle of devolution. We, by the time we were leaving, we left a master plan for this city that was supposed to guide the development for the next 25 years. I'm so heartfelt. I feel sad that 15 years after I've left office, that master plan is gathering dust. Because when the first governor took off of office, the first thing he should have done is to develop spatial plans for the city, so that each area has its own specific plan. Has that been done? We had the first governor, one term. We had the second governor, one term. Half term. Half term. Now we have the third governor, my son, Sakaja. They want to make him half term, but I'm hoping that they can give him a full term, one term. So, as you can see, again, it boils down back to management.
It's about management.
It's about management. Now, look at the current.
I'd like just to pause you a little bit. We'll come back to you. Pass on the mic to Charles Kerich. He is the minister in charge of finance, and he has served in the county in the previous administration, the 2 half terms of it. When it was first of all with Governor Sonko, and then with Governor Anne Kananu, and collaborating with the NMS, and now with Governor Sakaja. Charles, all these things that you know, you've heard Philip saying, and even from what the others are saying, it's about service delivery and about improvement. I want to start with the money, because you are in charge of the money. Philip is saying they were able to run using own source revenue. This year, I think you've raised about what, in the last financial year, you closed at close to
13.8.
Yeah?
13.8.
13.8 billion shillings is what you had raised. And your budget was 38 or thereabout billion shillings for the year. Are you able to run Nairobi affairs with the money that you raise alone, if you don't have any other source?
Without another source, it would be a challenge. But let me pick off, actually, from where the last town clerk left off. And I was looking at a newspaper called the Weekly Review. Some of you might remember it. And the headline, the cover page of the Weekly Review on August 11th, 1989. The title was Impossible City. Will Nairobi ever be manageable? That was the front page. So this question that you're asking today is not a new question. It's a question that has been asked and was even the headline those days. Now, I like the fact that you gave a little background about the history of Nairobi, how we moved from being a Nairobi municipality to being the Nairobi City Council, where it was run by elected councillors with a mayor and a town clerk appointed by the Ministry of Local Government. But at some point, His Excellency, then the President, decided that it's not working, so he's going to form what was called Nairobi City Commission. Nairobi City Commission was ran by commissioners. At some point, again, that was from 1983 to 1992. 1992, again, it was decided Nairobi should revert to become a Nairobi City Council run by a town clerk selected from the Ministry of Local Government of the national government. 2008, the national government then created something called Ministry of Metropolitan Development. If you remember, it had a minister called Njeru Gedhai, who was also supposed to be running Nairobi. 2010 Constitution created devolution. Nairobi City County was formed. 2 years later, Nairobi Metropolitan Services was created to run the affairs of Nairobi. For 2 years, it has reverted back. And why this is an interesting topic is, for how long is Nairobi going to be an experiment? Why is it that periodically somebody has to come up with a new suggestion to say, now let's form a commission, or now let's form a metropolitan service, or now let's do this, let's form a Ministry of Metropolitan Development, and so on. The city is so important that it cannot continue being an experiment. What this city needs is consistency over a long time. And he did point out even the tenures of the previous governors.
Yeah.
Look at a situation where this city, which was doing quite well, all the dams that were supplying Nairobi with water, near the waterworks and Ndakaini, were built by the council, not by the national government. So at some point, things are working, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you now have a devolved system where a governor stays in office for 5 years. The governor has come with his CECs. Those are the ministers of the county. The CECs below them have PSs called chief officers. Now, those people run the county. After 5 years, the governor is not re-elected, and the whole team goes. The governor, the CEC, the chief officer. A new one comes and starts from zero. So the second governor came with his CECs, chief officers, and then he's not re-elected, and they're all swept out. Now you have a third governor. So you see this cycle of people coming, working for like 4 years, they go, you bring another lot, is not doing any service to this city. Below them, you have people called directors.
Yeah.
Now those are people who are permanent and pensionable. Those are the people who should now be empowered, because that is the continuity of a county government. Whether a governor is changed or not, you have some level of continuity. But if you have this experiment where you're saying now, health is not working, health should go back to the national government. For example, Nairobi County government has 124 hospitals, clinics, and other health facilities. 124. National government has 2. Kenyatta National Hospital, Nairobi Hospice. Tell me, is Kenyatta National Hospital the marking scheme of how health should be run? Is it like the best run institution that we should emulate? If it is not working, how would you say then take the rest and give the national government?
Take the other 120 and give them to...
Resources follow functions. NMS, you have heard, did some nice pedestrian footpaths and so on. But somebody should mention that apart from the money that the county gave NMS, the national government appropriated 27.6 billion to the NMS over 2 years. I mean, if Philip was sitting in office today and you're given...
4 functions. Are they 4 functions?
4 functions. You're sitting in office and you're given 27 billion to do development. I mean, you would do it. But now, as soon as NMS ended, that money dried up. And that's why people are saying, how comes we are not seeing development moving at the rate of NMS? It's because the national government money is no longer there. Let me close by saying, you know, you've heard recently that a lot of United Nations offices are relocating to Nairobi. Some are coming from Geneva, some are coming from New York, and this continues to even elevate the status of Nairobi. And with that, you need to do a lot of infrastructural development to accommodate that. The county itself is struggling. If the national government steps in and says, we are putting resources to expand roads, that's very okay. That's a very good collaboration. It doesn't have to be one way or the other. It doesn't have to be hand over the county to the national government, because the county also belongs to the people of Nairobi, who also have a right to representation. They have a right to elect their leaders. They have a right to have them accountable. So the best situation would be where the county, you know, does what it is capable to do consistently over a while, but the national government also steps in. In fact, I would argue that Nairobi should get 2 allocations, one as a county and another as the capital territory of Kenya. The fact that it is a host of diplomatic missions, it is a capital city, it is a host of the United Nations, makes it a capital territory that actually creates a case for better collaboration between the county and the national government for development.
Eric, if I may, and sir, if I may, I feel like you have sparked a nerve inside my mind. Now I'm very curious. So does it mean we need to wait for the United Nations to come here for there to be a spark that we need to build roads for Nairobi? Number two, I want to confirm, you're the CEC of Finance?
Yes.
Yes? I've not heard anything on finance, but let me just ask again.
I answered what he asked.
I know. So let me ask, how much money is Nairobi County making? And since you've said the NMS got allocations and that's why they were able to fasten the productivity in 2 years, because I do agree with you, 27 billion is insane. You're making 13 billion, as I've said. Let me use the current one, right? Around, let's say, roughly even 10 billion. So then what is the rate Nairobi takes to actually have functioning development happen? And then in your seat, what exactly is the limitation within matters finance? Is it the fact that there's no money entirely that trickles down to these developments, or there are so many middlemen that this money has to pass through for it to actually get to development?
So first of all, Nairobi is mainly a service county. And apart from the 13 billion that we collect as on-source revenue, we also receive what is known as equitable share, which is what national government gives all counties. Our equitable share is 21 billion shillings in the year. In a month, that comes to between 1.6 and 1.7 billion shillings that we receive from the national treasury.
In a month?
Yes, in a month. Now, the wage bill of Nairobi, with its 19,000 employees, is 1.6 billion per month. So what that means is that every shilling that comes for equitable share goes to salary-related issues
within the
county. Now we have the 13 billion that now we collect ourselves. And that is what now is distributed to other non-discretionary expenditure, paying for electricity, for fueling the vehicles and so on. And remember, you are also required to put 30% of your budget towards development. So it's a delicate balancing act, because when you get the money, you want to increase your capacity, for example, to collect garbage, as an example. So you have a situation where over the years, the garbage issue was abandoned by the council to the point where it became privatized. So garbage is collected by private companies. But now you have a government which is saying, this is our primary responsibility. Why don't we invest and buy more vehicles so that the county can do its job to collect instead of just outsourcing it? And so if over 2 years you've bought like 50 tippers,
the compactors,
these refuse compactors that I don't think any Gen Z here had seen a refuse compactor, because the last time they were in Nairobi was many, many years ago. But a lot of investment goes into building the capacity, for example. And you see, this just shows that there's then some level of long-term planning to say, even after leaving office, why don't we leave a county that's better capacitated to do its job and to collect solid waste? So the solid waste problem has not been solved. We still have garbage in Nairobi. But you see, if you're increasing the capacity and to the point where maybe every sub-county has its own equipment, then with time, what you're doing is you're putting some long-term planning into your service delivery. Not quick fix, saying just give contractors and let everybody come. This is your zone, where chukua hapa, you collect here. That is a bandage you're putting on a wound. Why don't you resolve the root cause, which is that Nairobi, at some point in the 90s, was considered an opposition council. So the government then of President Moi basically neglected Nairobi. And there was no development project that went into Nairobi for a long time. So by the time now the elections were coming and President Kibaki is coming to look at Nairobi, it has faced like 20 years of neglect. And now that is the capacity that is now being built back.
Trying to build it back to now. Let's bring in the MCA for Kileleshwa, who's very, very active in the county assembly, Robert Alai. You can pass on the mic to Robert. Robert, you decided you want to run as MCA in Nairobi. And I remember having asked you the questions, why? Why, Robert? Why Nairobi? Why MC? And you said there's a lot that needs to be done to govern Nairobi. Now that you're in the system, because you're making noise from outside, now you're in there as a county assembly representative, is Nairobi functioning? And is what Waziri is saying making sense in terms of the kind of investment that's needed and the frustration that the citizens have in just looking at their county and seeing like it's not working?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think that, you know, I feel for the frustrations from Waziri Kerich. And as an MCA, I also have my own frustrations. And, you know, mostly it goes with the executive. And it's good the CEO is next to me, Mr. Kumali. And the challenge is that first, like you say, that we need the money. Up to now, I can tell you for a fact that what you hear of 13.8 billion is just creative accounting.
What do you mean?
There is no evidence that more than 9 billion has ever been collected in Nairobi. Apart from during Kidero's time, there's no evidence. You know, if you have the transfer evidence of actual transfer of 13 billion, even 10 billion, come and show me. We believe it's creative accounting. And this is where my frustration comes.
What evidence do you have? 9 billion?
You know, I've talked to, you know, the people who are auditing these accounts. I've talked to, you know, the people who are handling the revenue every day to day. There's no evidence that 13 billion has ever been collected in Nairobi.
How much do they collect from?
9 billion during Sakaja's times, you know, 9 billion thereof. But that's not the issue here. The issue is that Nairobi, for Nairobi to work, you need the money. And Nairobi's strength lies on on-source revenue. If we don't know up to now who is collecting Nairobi revenue, there's a challenge. It is moving from NRS to convergence. Now they're talking of something called e-citizen. If you ask today who is actually collecting Nairobi revenue, we still don't know. And that is where the problem is. Secondly, you know the frustrations we have for Nairobi to work. We need clarity of thought. And the clarity of thought is that the administration needs to understand that what do they want to do with whatever they are being given. If you are being allocated this much, because you hear the frustration of getting the equitable share and you use it all to pay the salaries. What brought up the need for 19,000 employees? I think Kidero found 14,000, he reduced them to 11,000, employed again 3,000. When Sakaja became governor, he found them at 15,000, he employed 4,000, they are now at 19,600, thereabout. Why do we have 19,600? You know, how many are supposed to retire? How many are supposed to be, you know, voluntary retirement? How many are supposed to be? Because the challenge in Nairobi, and you know, in this, I concur with my brother Kerich, that the challenge in Nairobi sometimes is the dumping. Every politician in this country has an interest in Nairobi. So sometimes they find it easy to make a call and say that, can you get for me 10 people there in Kanjo? Employment. And that's a head start. Because Nairobi, like we say in the city hall, by the way we call it the hall in the city. The city hall, what happens is that not everybody who is there is not in the job because they qualified for it. They're there because there's a political godfather who brought them. So even getting them out of that employment is very complicated. And that is part of the frustration of Nairobi.
So if we removed all those and said, let Nairobi be managed from elsewhere, would it solve an issue?
No, I don't think, because, you know, we have 47 counties in this country. Is Nairobi the only poorly managed county? I think all the 47 are poorly managed. So the problem is on our politics and how we manage it. But Nairobi being a special county with a 30% of the GDP thereabout, and, you know, being bigger than 26 bottom counties combined economically, I think that it needs a special attention. And this special attention should also be given to the other city counties. the city county of Nakuru, city county of Mombasa, Kisumu, then Eldoret to represent the Western Gishu. I think that we need to find a special way, because I had, when we had this frustration of trying to impeach the governor and also getting to meet the political leaders in this country and explaining to them our frustration, they also concurred that at least they need a special ear in the city counties because they have special needs and the cosmopolitan nature. And also, you know, even the design of our politics is one size fits all. If it is the MCAs, if it is the county assembly, the clerk, the design is same for 47 county. But so do you
think Nairobi should be special?
Nairobi should be special.
If I was to ask you then, Robert,
yes,
what is this special treatment that Nairobi should receive?
Nairobi should.
The Waziri for Finance is, I think he's heading towards something of a hybrid, where there is the county government being run, but then there's the national government also supplementing the work of the county. That was in terms of revenue, in terms of financial allocation, but he didn't mention whether, you know, you'd have also people from the national government coming to run the county. What's your solution?
You know, Nairobi. Let me give you, because Nairobi is divided into twice. All the counties in Kenya, the assembly and the executive. If I give you the example of the assembly is the second biggest parliament in Kenya, bigger than the Senate. 124 employees, 124 MCAs, 500 employees, you know, permanent employees. If you compare the same to a county like Isiolo, probably with 30, they're about, what, 18, 19? Last time they impeached their governor, I think it was around 18, 19, 20. 20 MCAs. And you pay the same, let's say the table clerk, the clerk, the county secretary. You give him the same facilities, the same support. In Nairobi, I am the MCA of Kileleshwa. By government, by SRC standards, for me to run my ward, I'm given 108,000 a quarter. I'm supposed to pay rent not more than 18,000. There's no land for government. There's no official office for the MCA. The SQ in Kileleshwa is 30,000. You see? So Nairobi needs a special attention. And I'm not talking about myself. Even these executive staff, they need special attention. The county secretary of Nairobi can't be treated the same way the county secretary of Tana River is. Can't be treated the same way and cannot be given the same support.
So what's your solution?
I think what we need to do is that we need to design the county, the city county, especially starting with Nairobi, because Nairobi is the biggest. I think Nairobi needs a special attention, special financial allocation. I agree with the CS Kerich. Apart from the equitable share, I think we need even more. But even the revenue system, so that we don't have political decisions every time a new governor is elected, is that the issue of revenue needs to be decided once and for all, that it will be collected in law. It will be collected in this way, and this is how it will be utilized.
Okay.
Because that is the elephant in the room, that as long as we don't know who collects revenue for Nairobi and the strength of Nairobi, Nairobi can work without the equitable share. But as long as we don't know who collects the revenue for Nairobi, Nairobi will always be in a mess, because you will not know how much is collected by who and is taken where, how many bank accounts are connected to the system. Nobody audits the system since it was connected to be collecting revenue for Nairobi how many years ago. So I think the challenge is on revenue allocation and also the management. Thank you.
Mr. Alai, I have a question.
Yes.
You know, I usually think it's usually easier when you're outside political circles to pin out a problem, but when you're in, to some extent, you're forced to sound different. I'm not saying you are.
Yes.
So I have a question. Now that you're in, and I'm looking at the situation between past affiliations within what Nairobi looked like and right now, in your seat, noticing the issues you've raised, you know, that there's a lot of frustration, understandably. What have you done differently?
I think we have engaged more, and you know, Eric has been a partner from day one.
I'm a Gen Z. I'm your next voter.
No.
So what does that look like?
Personally, I don't recognize Gen Zs.
That's
good. For a reason.
Fair enough.
I don't recognize.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I wish we listen to each other more.
That's what I'm trying. Like I'm asking. So in this regard, what I. No. It's a free show. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. What I'm asking is,
yes.
When I'm asking what have you done differently is, with the amount of frustrations, has there been anything you've followed up? Has there been any setbacks, like the way Waziri has mentioned?
Yes. You know, when we got into this seat, we organized a forum to explain to Kenyans what the frustration is within the political circles of representing, especially the city counties. Then we got, because we found the forum, which is supposed to represent the MCAs called CAF, was not representative enough. So we formed a forum, and we brought all MCAs from Kenya to Nairobi under AMCA. And we explained that how devolution is designed, it's designed to fail. Because the constitution was dependent on parliament approving some of the proposals. And when that happened, the MPs ensured that they reduced the powers of the Senate and the powers of the county assemblies. So proper oversight was not working. You face a situation where every month, until recently, when actually they separated the account of the assemblies and the county executive, is what happened is that even when I'm oversighting the executive, I still have to depend on CEC Kerich to sign for my salary. So imagine a situation where I am putting CS Kerich
on the spot
all the time, and it decides kwamba unajua hatujapata ile allocation in time, so 3-4 months hauna salary, just to ensure. And it has happened in other counties. I'm not saying that is happening in Nairobi. In fact, Nairobi, because of the spotlight and also because of the media, there has been a trial to make it work a bit. And sometimes you find the frustration that also the governor is not compelled by any law to give each ward development allocation fairly. So when you criticize the governor so much, what does he do? He says, ward yake haitapata development, or he gives your competitor the resources, like the bursaries. Go to his ward and distribute these bursaries. Immediately, you feel kwamba kuna pressure ground, wacha nisiguze governor.
So your hands are tied as MCAs.
Yeah, so I believe that what we need also to do is that you need, because they're the primary oversighters, you need to empower the county assemblies. And I must appreciate President Ruto, because what he has done when he signed I must appreciate President Ruto, because what he has done.
Well, hold on, order in the assembly.
It's a free show.
Yeah. So what he has done.
Remember, continue.
What he has done, I'll teach these young ones how to, disagree, but still respect the views of the person you're disagreeing with. That what he has done is, when he signed the revenue, the bill which separates allowed the county assemblies to have its own account at the treasury, it made the assemblies at least have some semblance of independence.
Yeah.
And that one has made it even easier for us now.
So now oversight now will be better.
It will be better because but we still.
That's how you're able to actually even have the gumph to start this impeachment motion.
Yes.
Because you knew this time, hawezi shikilia pesa.
Hakuna pesa.
Let's hear from. Yes. We want to hear from what you think. And as we are having this conversation, remember, we are asking ourselves whether Nairobi should revert to the national government in management or should remain as a devolved unit as a county, right? Remember a couple of issues, like what we've heard from the various speakers, the issue of capacity, the issue of resource mobilization. Remember, Nairobi County has the highest population as a county. Remember also the importance of Nairobi as the seat of the national government, as the capital of the country, as the diplomatic hub of the region, and so on and so forth. So all those things and the importance that Nairobi then gets. Let's continue the conversation. The gentleman with the mic, gentleman in the black shirt. Your name, please.
Hello, my name is Boniface Mlinge, and I'm in support of Nairobi to remain a county. But Yeah, but under one thing, we should strictly deal with corruption. After dealing with corruption, the mama mbogas can at least save more for their chamas without being asked for more by county askaris like kitu kidogo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Pass on the mic behind you.
Thank you very much. My name is Henry Musau. I can stay with the discussion that Nairobi needs to remain as a county. But the challenge here, and as a patriotic Kenyan, it is corruption. And we are even giving corruption a very good name. That is stealing. And that's why you hear the MCA from Kileleshwa saying they are being given less compared to another person like in Isiolo. Well, whatever they have been given with, we can't see anything from them. And that's why you hear him saying like, e-citizen, we don't see the money who collects that money. So what can you call that, Latif? And when you're eating, when you're growing up, you are told you need to have good manners. So these guys are eating. They have good manners. They can't talk. So the time they will stop eating, that's when they will now talk, and we won't listen to them. So let us not give corruption a very good name. Let us stick to this country needs to be fixed. This country is under total mess. So we have a very big problem.
So retain the county, but deal with corruption.
Yes.
Pass the mic behind you, and then let's hear from this side. On the right at the back.
Okay.
Who has the mic? You can pass the mic. Okay, no, the lady at the front. Let's start with the lady, actually. Okay. She had the mic for a while.
Hello, everyone. My name is Consolata Wawero. I'm a resident of Laikipia County, but I'm also a consumer of services in Nairobi County. I want to correct Honorable Alai by saying that, first of all, by saying that you don't recognize Gen Z. Say something that you guys don't want to listen. And if you look at them, Latif, from the CS Finance and Honorable Alai, they keep on escaping. They don't want to answer the question. And if you look at this trend, they don't want to point out the problem. They don't want to admit that they themselves are the problem. I am of the opinion that Nairobi should remain as a county. But the big problem is the county leadership, all the way from Governor Sakaja to the deputy governor to the CS Finance. Let them tell us the little money they have, what are they doing with it? Thank you.
Okay. There's a red at the back behind you. Okay.
My name is John Kongo. I'm from Odero, the Metro Ward, Dagoretti South constituency. I'm a resident of Nairobi and a voter of Nairobi. So I'm in support of Nairobi should be run by the county government. And my question is, you want us to take Nairobi to the national government, to parliament, the same parliament that the president said is corrupt. So the national government is corrupt, and us as the residents of Nairobi, we know that our MCAs, like this guy, that guy, I don't recognize him, like that guy, when we go to protest, we put our lives at stake. We leave our parents at home and we go to town to die because we know that the police will shoot us and we will die. But we are patriotic. We want a Kenya that is changed. So if an MCA is afraid to speak and tell the executive the truth because the executive will maybe not give the word what it deserves, okay? The MCA should stick with the Kenyans, should put the executive there, should tell the executive that you're misusing the money and I don't care if you pay me. Now, they shut up because they want money, okay? Nairobi County, mismanagement is there because money is there. Nairobi business people, the county government has destroyed the businesses of Nairobi people. The posters, the hanging billboards that were destroyed by Sakaja. There was a guy, business yake iliisha hiyo siku of posters because ziliondolewa at in the environment and it's hanging.
Kazi yake ilikuwa kuprint.
kazi yake ilikuwa kuprint na kutolea awase, kuwaekea chains, wana hang. Hawkers wanakimbishwa. It is very sad that we've not found a solution to manage Nairobi. Now, one thing, the last one. The Nairobi people voted 2010 constitution. They had already seen the problems that Nairobi had. So they said, let's put it as county government. Do you know how county government is so sweet? We elect MCAs and we elect governors. So we have people to blame. If it's national, we have no one to blame. So we need just to change the leadership. They're just looking for a loophole for corruption. Okay? How long will it take to change to national government, to make the structures? What we should do, we should fix the system, we should not break the system. And if we want to clear the field, we should cut the grass, but not burn the whole field to clear it.
Fix the system. Let's pass the mic to behind the final row, Mr. Oko.
Amachera Ibrahim. May I have some questions to ask? And my first question is to this person here in front of me. I'm supporting that Nairobi should be run as by county government, of course. You are on a mission to impeach someone, but on the process, mukacheza law. So what made you abort your mission? Because mulikuwa mmepanga to impeach Sakaja. Okay, I've not finished. You know, when you say that you want Nairobi to be run by national government, that means that people who elected those leaders won't be accountable with them. And for good work to be done, leaders must be accountable for what they are doing. I hope you people do.
Are you saying the national government is not accountable to the people?
Yeah, of course. If you can see,
okay.
If you are saying that national government should run Nairobi, then it means that next atakuwa kwa ballot. So possibly he's going home. Because county government.
Pass the mic to behind you. Thank you. I think we've got a point. Pass the mic behind you. The county secretary, who's like, the head of the civil service in Nairobi, is listening to all these issues. Godfrey, you'll come and respond to. You're taking notes.
Yes, I continue. Good evening. My name is Akipruto, and I've been hearing a lot of conversations going on, and they are beautiful. And it boils down to the quality of leadership we have in Nairobi. It's about the substance of a form. We've so much concentrated on the form, the structures of the constitution, the anchoring, but we've not looked into the issue of the quality of leadership. That is the substance. Do we have the goodwill from the national government? Do we have the leadership which has capacity? Does the governor have the capacity to run? Does the MCAs have the capacity to question and look into the books? Robert Alai Honorable has raised a very important issue here about the revenue. That they don't know as a county assembly where our revenue is going. What legal obligation and parameter do they need so that they can ensure that this money is known where it is going? Because you cannot be there for accountability purposes and you don't know where the money is going. It is a very serious issue which needs to be looked into. We cannot allow that one go because it's into a tune of billions. We don't know where it is going. So it boils down to the capacity of leaders we elect. And I call upon the Gen Zs now. It is good you are waking up. Let's wake up and ensure that we put the leaders who have the capacity to lead. They have the ability to question. They have the ability to lead and ensure that there is accountability. So those are the issues which we need to look into at Nairobi. My last word, we don't need to give Nairobi to the national government. The national government, through NMS, we saw when Kerich said that the 27 billion was handed over to NMS. It is true, 27 billion. And our Auditor General was questioning over 15 billion, which was not accounted by NMS. How was it accounted? Because of the issues of procurement. NMS came trying to run things very fast, but in terms of accountability, in terms of procurement issues, they bypassed the House of the County Assembly. Do you need that? That is not what we need. So we want to ensure that our county governments, despite the challenges they are having, we just need to ensure we have people, the right people who have goodwill, capacity, and ability to ensure the smooth running and prosperity of the institution.
Okay. We'll come back to the people shortly. What I'm hearing here is those who are for retaining devolution are saying it's because of accountability. That the people still want to have the power and the say on who they put in the county assembly and who goes into the county executive, and those in those offices to feel that they're answerable to the people directly. That if you introduce another layer where you take them and the national government is running this, then you're putting the issue of accountability further away from the people.
Exactly.
But then the issue that then comes into what Philip Kisi had said earlier, it's the quality of the people in office.
Yeah, 100%. I think what's also coming up very strongly is that we're looking at both situations whereby both county and national government understand that there's a difference between oversight and overreach. Which often that not is the biggest conflict that comes around, whereby you find if it does go to national government, the predicaments around what is a highway of accountability, what is the resourcing factor for Kenyans to find the national government accountable, it's almost impossible. And maybe to articulate then what does the county government require to do, what is being raised by the residents is that what is lacking is functionable capacities within the county government, which I think then what's making sense is that there's probably a need to have a hybrid sort of systemic approach then, whereby Nairobi systemically is withheld around the fact that it's special. It's a world gate, to be very honest. We have JKIA hosting around 80% of international flights. We have it's the only city in the world with a national park. Like Nairobi has its own gem within itself, which 100% the national government can't take it upon its accord, because again, Nairobi really gives a picture of what Kenya is. Because again, I think this is also the only region where the cultural and the historical facets of Kenyans come together and merge. In Nairobi, you'll find everyone from everywhere. So then what does that mean to have Nairobi be an opening wing for the rest of the county? However, having the county government still work hand in hand, because again, as you centralize Nairobi towards national government, so do you centralize all the issues and all the corruption, and then accountability becomes an issue, which I think Mr. Godfrey would take us through with this. But I think that hybrid systemic system whereby those big issues can be not only allocated by national government, but given a hand by national government, but the local county services towards the people are strictly left for county.
Okay. So there's a hybrid here of let the people pick their leaders, but let also the national government play a bigger role in how Nairobi is then running by allocating extra resources for Nairobi and also extra capacity for Nairobi, not just in terms of money, but also in terms of maybe human resource and technical expertise. Let's hear from the county secretary, Godfrey. You run the county basically, the public service of Nairobi. And just like Alai is talking about all those people who have been employed. Alai, did you say 18,000? 19,600. 3,000 just by this administration. Extra, right? Are all of these delivering service for Nairobi? Like Karit says, Nairobi is a service county. Are they all delivering service for Nairobi? Are we getting value for money? Do you need extra capacity to come from the national government?
Thank you very much. And I've listened to the sentiments from the floor. But let me start by correcting something. You know, what my friend, the MCA for Kileleshwa said, if it goes on record unchallenged, puts us in a very precarious position. Nairobi County, under Governor Sakaja, has automated revenue collection. No penny is paid in Nairobi County cash. We actually closed the Nairobi City County cash office it no longer exists. No penny is collected cash. And we pay every coin through a system. And you know, Robert is also a member of the committee on that oversights the ID, which is primarily the hosts of the system that is used to collect revenue. And so I found his sentiments quite obnoxious, to say the least.
A member, I think you are the vice chair of the ICT committee in the county assembly,
and you don't know how money is collected.
that committee does not have visibility into this platform. That is what he's saying, Godfrey.
You know, sentiments, Latif, can really be exciting to the masses. When he says that audited accounts for Nairobi County by OAG are not correct, which confirm how much we've collected in the last financial year. The OAG have just exited auditing Nairobi County like a week ago. The report will be out in a month or so. It knows we collected 13.8 billion. When he says 9 billion, you know, let's also be factual and truthful in what we say. Away from that, to the subject matter of today, you know, as Karich CC Finance said, this is a city that is heavy on service delivery. And we don't deliver service to mass land, we deliver services to human beings. Allocation of resources is mostly done dependent on the outcome of the census report. What time are census reports done? They are done at night. But there's a disparity which we all agree to in Nairobi of the population. During the day, the population of Nairobi rises to about 8 million Kenyans. Yeah. In the evening, it drops to about 5 million Kenyans. Now, that disparity of 3 million are 3 million who come and share the cake because they deserve services from us, yet are not part of what we allocated. That poses a big challenge in service delivery. And like the last clerk said, the last city clerk said, there are quite a number.
Just to be clear on that, just so that everybody gets to understand.
Yes.
The formula that is used by the Commission on Revenue Allocation has a parameter on population.
Yes.
And that determines how much money goes to a county.
Yes.
And so you're saying that that parameter is wrong for Nairobi.
Yes.
Because the population that is allocated is 5 million.
Yes.
And yet you're serving 8 million.
That's all I'm saying. And in fact, we maybe in future we'll propose that census be done during the day so that we have the correct figure for the city. It is very important for the city, not just now, but also for posterity. Second is the issue that this city, as all of us appreciate, is the capital city of Kenya and is also a diplomatic city. That means it has a pressure other counties don't have. There are certain standards that a capital city must always have at all times. There are certain standards a diplomatic city must always have. Those are not the same of other counties, even other city counties within the country. Remember, we are also the only pure city county. The others have a city and then a rural, a larger rural within themselves. You go to Kisumu, just the metropolis is the city, the rest is rural. So we are the only pure city county in the country. And this means that this city has pressures that are not foreseen in other places. However, that moving away from lamentations, because even after reading the book of Lamentations, as we are in the process of creating hope for all Nairobians and creating dignity for them, then we must also focus on what has been achieved, because a scorecard is the most important parameter that you can use to say, yes, this has worked, this has failed. Indeed, I must appreciate that we've had gains, we've also had misses. Some of the gains we've made are so crucial in that they don't just speak to today, but to the future. Look at our gains with, for example, the Dish in a County program, which has ensured more children going to school. As end of July, we had served over 50 million plates. Today, as we speak here on this Tuesday, 361,000 children benefited from a hot meal. In Nairobi, hunger is a key issue for Nairobians. In Nairobi, a parent who does not get a job for the day means they cannot feed their family. It means children not going to school because they cannot afford food. That program is running and has been going on. So far, that program we spent about 2.5 billion as we speak to subsidize.
Billion?
Billion, yes, for the last 3 years now. We have 17 running kitchens and the program is ongoing with great support from Nairobians. Ask any Nairobian whose child is benefiting from that program, they'll tell you.
But
the story...
Because you are doing very well in terms of just showing how much has been realized by the city-county government of Nairobi. Is it enough? If we just to come in and say, if we were to retain the status quo, would Nairobi continue being a viable county government if status quo remains in terms of how it's treated right now, the allocations, the relationship between the county government and the national government and the others? If the status quo remained, would it be okay?
Yes, Nairobi in the last 3 years has had a very cordial relationship with the national government. And you've seen in the last few months or so, for example, because of the gap we have, for example, in our finances, we've requested the national government to support us with the roads, and they're doing quite a number of roads within the city. Remember, a year ago, Jogoo Road was so bad, and everyone was blaming the governor. And this is the problem. Nairobians will not know the difference between a national government road and a county road. To them, they want a road fixed. To them, they want when they walk to Mama Lucy Hospital to receive treatment.
Yep.
They want when their child goes to Mugumoine ECD, they want their child to learn. That is what Nairobians are looking for. And therefore, collaboration between the national government and the county government is so important. And we appreciate that there's been very good and cordial relationship between the national government and the county government this far. And you've seen what we've done in that area of roads, and there's quite an improvement that is happening.
Yeah.
There's a lot happening within the education sector. More classes have been built in Nairobi. Nairobi had very few classes. To date, if you go to many primary schools in Nairobi, one class like this has over 100 students because we have shortage of classrooms. And there's a program that the national government is working with the county to increase the number of primary school classes as the county also works on ECDs.
Okay. So you're calling it collaboration?
Yes.
Collaboration with the national government?
Yes.
Latif, I think just before you wind up, sir, and it's good you've mentioned this, the fact that, of course there are achievements and heko pongezi for the county. Now, I feel like one thing, Nairobians are asking and requesting for this service because they deserve them and they pay for them, yeah? And that it's not necessarily, and I do understand how strict these budgets are, 100%, but they're asking for things that they deserve and they pay for, and they're taxed and they're arrested as well if they don't pay. Now let's agree. You've said a very nice thing. Nairobi is a capital city. It's a phenomenal city. Now, with the work that you're doing and how, the county is having its resourceful hands within the work, just take us through what the county is doing about Karura. What is this fight between KFS and the Friends of Karura, and why are our trees being cut, and who are we to blame?
During NMS, these are the challenges you enter into when functions are moved. And NMS is an entity we don't want to speak so much about. However, forestry is a devolved function.
Yeah.
And even IGRTC clearly stated that City Park should be under Nairobi City County. And we will be engaging more because, as I've said, necessarily you don't always have to fight physically. You can engage and each other cordially and resolve issues. We'll be engaging the ministry on this issue of City Park and even on the issue of Karura Forest, so that indeed functions that constitutionally are county remain county functions without overreaching each other.
Who changes the prices and the taxes within these spaces? Is it the national government that changes the prices to access to parks and things like that? Or is it your...
Currently, the parks charges are still with the national government. Okay. However, these, as you saw in the last Gazette notice by IGRTC, these are functions that are being devolved. Right. So, yeah, currently it's still with the national government.
Thank you so much.
So we'll be winding up shortly in about 7 minutes. Okay. Yeah, but we'll come... Please. So we want to just hear from the people who have not spoken. You have the mic, and you have, and then the lady has a very burning question. Let's start with you, and then we'll come to this side.
Okay. Thank you.
Your name, please?
I'm Henry Kibet Mwasa from Embakasi Ward. Robert Allah is my friend also, but sometimes he differs with us, also the Gen Zs. But what I want to say is, a lot of money. Nairobi County generates almost 30% of the national GDP, but only 0.5% linakuja kwetu bado. And that's bad, because when you take this money to the other, like West Pokot, that's by a county, to Samburu, those guys, they bring the money back to Nairobi. So it's not working. Another thing, we need to be like Addis Ababa, where Ruto is. You see, the city is the best city in Africa. There's good lighting, good roads. And another thing about MCS like Robert Alai, wache kulamba governor, ni tunafaa kuwa na ward development fund. 20%, like 20 million to each ward. How we have CDF. And that ward development fund will be managed by the community, the same way we manage CDF by the community. And then we need to have the autonomy of the National Assembly. Ikuwe National Assembly isitegemee pesa kutoka kwa governor. Ikuwe na location yao, niko kwa sheria.
Pass the mic to the lady.
Okay, sorry. Thank you so much for the food. I don't know kama chapati zilifika, but mine, as I said earlier, I come from Woodley. We have a challenge. Woodley, I'm part of the executive in the market. We have a challenge of garbage. Our MCA, Mr. DNG, has tried, but they say this garbage has a cartel. I don't know which cartel is that. I understand, like, when in this county of ours, our able governor, is like the president of the county, is able to control this garbage. If we have cartels, can he do away with this cartel and control the garbage that we have in Nairobi? Kwanza, in our market, it's so bad, it smells so bad. I think, Mr. Sakaja, you can see this. Kindly work on that. It is bad. Even my chairman told me to talk about this garbage. Please come and rescue this garbage from Woodley,
what's the issue exactly
Market.
With the garbage? How often is it collected?
Maybe two times. Is it 2 times? But when you come and see the picture,
2 times a week or a day,
or even a month. When you come and see that garbage, you can't tell even we have a market there. It's really bad. Okay. Aki, please work on that, Mr. Sakaja and our able MCA. Thank you so much.
Thank you. There's a red guy here.
Yeah, honestly.
Guy in a white shirt. So let's.
Thank you for that. My fellow Kenyans, Samson Marigo Turuka from Kuria West Sub-County, residents of Nairobi. This evening, or this night, I may say that Nairobi should remain as a county or should be run as a county itself, because or I may ask some questions, or one or two. when maybe we are going to...
No questions now, because there's no time to answer. So
okay,
what's your point? You want it to remain as a county?
Let me just ask a question that, are we going to fight corruption, or we are going to increase corruption when the Nairobi will be run by the national government? So I humbly request MCAs, the MPs, the Senate should go and post a question where we should fight first the corruption, whereby we will be delivering service to the local common mwananchi.
Pass the mic to the white shirts.
Thank you very much.
Finally.
Yes, finally I got the mic. So my name is Kimani Midhamo. I'm from Kariobangi North. I'm also an urbanist by profession. Myself, I'm supporting that the county government should go to the national government. In 1986, the Great Britain separated the London into boroughs. This is how Britain became how it is. As you look at now, we are talking about waste. Waste has become a problem. And I will start even with City Park. Being an urban planner, there's something that we call spatial plans, land use plans. All these things are the ones that even the CEC of Finance uses to collect finances in Nairobi. The people here from the county, what you should be explaining to us is how the spatial plans and the land use dictate the collection of funds. It's not how you are using the money. How did you follow the land use? I will talk about City Park. Actually, I'm a member of City Park Forest. For 104 years, this forest has been in the local government, true or false? But this forest was 128 hectares. What we are fighting now, it is 64 hectares. The county has eaten half of it. True or false? And Sinukweli, that is the truth. They have already eaten half of the forest. Now they're in Karura. If Mwangari Maathai never went into Karura, the Kanjogu would have eaten the whole Karura. And that's why now they are fighting to come up with a road inside the forest so that they can leave road reserves and they steal the reserves.
So take the county, give it back to the national government.
Yes.
That's your point. Thank you very
much. On this point, why I'm saying this is because counties and Nairobi is a very fundamental city. Okay. We have talked about the national park. We have talked about, like I will bring an instance. The other day, we saw the county dumping waste outside Kenya Power. Is that the Dandora they are supposed to do? Because I think they are trying to fight for 10 billion. Let me give you my point.
You've made your point.
My point is...
We are running out of time,
like
seriously.
1 minute.
Yeah.
The problem
Not
is...
a minute. Less than a minute.
Okay. They are fighting for 10 billion deal that is supposed to transfer Dandora dam site from into waste to energy. That deal was given to... Uhuru Kenyatta gave that deal to Kenya Power. But Sakaja came and gave a Chinese so that they can corrupt it. And till now, nothing is happening. So... The only place that we are living...
I was expecting that you're now going to use that to actually justify what you're saying, but I think you've already said what you said. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I want us to conclude on this particular one, and I want to just give a minute of just closing remarks to our person. And this is just to look at the last word for the evening. If you look at what we've just been discussing tonight, the history of Nairobi, the journey of Nairobi, the challenges that have been raised here in terms of governing Nairobi, the population during the day, the population at night, the geographic location of Nairobi in the country, that Nairobi is recognized even in the Constitution as the seat of Kenya, the seat of national government, the seat of the National Assembly and all. So it's an important county, it's an important region. And the CECM for Finance has actually said, look, if we were able to get extra support to run Nairobi, and if we start thinking about Nairobi long term, we'd be heading towards somewhere in terms of not just thinking of the cyclical 5-year administrations that come in and leave Nairobi, but thinking of Nairobi and, well, indeed the entire country, but Nairobi as one that requires serious injection of catching up with the many years of non-development to address the growing population. It is the fastest urbanizing region in the country. So there are many areas that have to be considered when it comes to Nairobi. The CCM also has mentioned this, and we have discussed it as well here in the conversation, about looking at the own-source revenue. Same thing that the last town clerk of Nairobi, Philip Kisia, said. How much is Nairobi able to generate in terms of own-source revenue? What's the capacity? Should it be collecting about 60 billion shillings a year, as the capacity has been said by the Commission for Revenue Allocation? Is it able to raise that? Is it able to use that to offer services to the people of Nairobi? So if we look at all these factors and looking at the special status of Nairobi, looking at examples like Abuja, like Washington, D.C., then there is what we are hearing here as people want to have the democratic right to elect their leaders of Nairobi that are answerable to them. There's also the other need of Nairobi getting the special recognition that it ought to be getting as the seat of the country, not just the country, the diplomatic, the commercial, the political hub of the region. What does that mean? Should it get extra support, technical? Should it get extra support, financial, from the national government, from the country, so that it can retain that status? And no, that brings us to a point of a hybrid situation here, which says, what if then Nairobi continues with the residents of Nairobi electing the leaders that are answerable to them, and also electing leaders that are answerable to them at national level, but both levels of government working together to manage Nairobi, to govern Nairobi? In the end, like Philip Kisia said, it's about the people who are actually running Nairobi, their capacity, their competence, and their willingness to do the job that they are given. So you can have a hybrid system of Nairobi, but it's about the people who are doing the job. Are they able to do the job? And that really is the last word. My name is Eric Latif. Zaha Indimuli has been my co-host. We want to acknowledge the people who've been here with us tonight, our audience who are always very, very active. We have the CCM for Finance in Nairobi City County, Charles Kerich. We have the County Secretary, Godfrey. We've got the MCA for Kileleshwa, Robert Elai, and we have the last town clerk of Nairobi, Philip Kisia, who's still very active on matters of Nairobi and running devolution in this country. I want to say thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Let's engage more in the conversations on our digital platforms. Have a good evening.